Here's a statistic that might shock you. Many heart attacks occur in arteries that are less than 50% blocked. That's right, even a clear stress test doesn't mean you're in the clear. Today, we're discussing why aspirin isn't always the answer and what you can do instead. Now, aspirin has long been hailed as a miracle drug for heart health. It's known to prevent blood clots and potentially save about 100,000 lives annually. Pretty impressive, right? But here's the thing. Not everyone should be popping these pills like candy. In fact, the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force changed its recommendations in 2022. They're now saying that aspirin isn't for everyone when it comes to heart attack prevention. Why the change? What risks are we talking about? And if not aspirin, then what? I'll tell you, there are alternative methods for maintaining heart health that you need to understand. But first, let's unpack this aspirin myth and see why it's not the one-size-fits-all solution we once thought it was. Welcome to Health Report, your go-to channel for reliable science-backed health insights. Whether you're looking to maintain your vitality, prevent disease, or explore the latest in wellness trends. Now let's dive into the aspirin paradox. You've probably heard it called a wonder drug, but what if I told you this tiny pill could be playing Russian roulette with your health? The truth about aspirin's double-edged sword might surprise you. Aspirin works by binding to tiny blood cells called platelets. Think of platelets as the body's natural band-aids, rushing to form clots when you get a cut. But sometimes these clots can form where they shouldn't, like in your arteries. Aspirin steps in and tells these platelets to take it easy, reducing the risk of dangerous clots that could lead to heart attacks or strokes. For people who already have heart problems, this is fantastic news. Aspirin plays a crucial role in what we call secondary prevention. That's medical speak for preventing a second heart attack or stroke in someone who's already had one. It's like having a tiny bodyguard in your bloodstream, constantly on the lookout for trouble. But here's where things get tricky. Aspirin isn't just affecting the platelets in your arteries, it's working all over your body. And while that might sound great, it can lead to some serious side effects. We're talking about potential allergic reactions, stomach ulcers, and in rare cases, bleeding in the brain. It's like turning off the sprinkler system in your whole house just to water one plant. Sure, the plant gets watered, but at what cost? This is why the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force changed its tune about aspirin in 2022. They realized that for many people, especially those over 60 without existing heart problems, the risks of taking aspirin might outweigh the benefits. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution anymore. So how do you know if aspirin is right for you? It all comes down to weighing the risks against the benefits. If you've already had a heart attack or stroke, the scales likely tip in favor of taking aspirin. But if you're just trying to prevent a first heart attack, that's where things get murky. This brings us to an important distinction: primary versus secondary prevention. Primary prevention is like locking your doors to prevent a break-in. It's what you do before there is a problem. Secondary prevention, on the other hand, is like installing a security system after you've already been robbed. Aspirin shines in secondary prevention, but for primary prevention, it's not always the best choice. You know that feeling of relief when you pass a test with flying colors? Well, when it comes to your heart health, that feeling might be a bit premature. Remember that stress test you aced? It might not be telling you the whole story. Let's unpack why passing this common heart health exam doesn't necessarily mean you're in the clear. First, we need to talk about plaque. You might picture it as a waxy buildup in your arteries, like cholesterol-laden gunk clogging up pipes. But here's the thing. Plaque isn't just fat. It's a complex mixture of inflammatory cells and mucus that can trigger blood clots. This misunderstanding of plaque composition is why many people underestimate their heart attack risk. Here's a shocking fact. Many heart attacks occur in arteries that are less than 50% blocked. That's right. You could have relatively clear arteries and still be at risk. Stress tests typically don't detect these smaller blockages, giving you a false sense of security. It's like having a small leak in your roof. It might not cause immediate flooding, but over time, it can lead to serious damage. Now let's talk about a genetic factor that might be silently increasing your risk of heart disease, even if your stress test results look perfect. It's called lipoprotein A, or LPA for short. This sneaky little protein is determined by your genes, and high levels can significantly increase your risk of heart attacks and strokes. The kicker? Standard cholesterol tests don't usually measure LPA, so you might not even know you're at risk. But here's where aspirin comes back into the picture. Remember how we said it's not for everyone? Well, for people with high LPA, aspirin might actually be a game changer. Studies have shown that aspirin can decrease the increased risk of heart attack and stroke associated with LPA by approximately 52%. That's a significant reduction in risk. So, what does all this mean for you? It means we need to look beyond traditional tests when assessing heart health. A clear stress test is great, but it's not the whole picture. We need to consider genetic factors like LPA, understand the true nature of plaque, and recognize that even minimal blockages can pose significant risks. While we've focused on medical tests and aspirin, there's a whole world of heart health strategies we haven't touched on yet. Did you know that some foods can act as natural blood thinners? Or that there's a Japanese delicacy that might be more effective at dissolving clots than aspirin? Let's dive into these alternatives that could change the game for heart health. When it comes to preventing heart attacks and strokes, lifestyle changes are actually more critical than medications. That's right. What you do every day has a bigger impact on your heart health than any pill you might take. This doesn't mean medications aren't important, but it does highlight the power you have to take control of your health. Now let's talk about some natural alternatives to aspirin for blood thinning. Fish oil, ginger, garlic, and turmeric have all shown promise in promoting heart health. These natural options can help reduce inflammation and improve circulation, but here's the catch. While they're generally safer than aspirin, they're also not as effective for serious conditions. It's like comparing a bicycle to a car. Both can get you places, but you wouldn't use a bike for a cross-country trip. But what if I told you there's a natural substance that could potentially rival aspirin's effects without the risks? Enter nattokinase. This enzyme, derived from a traditional Japanese fermented soybean dish, has shown promising results in dissolving clots and reducing arterial plaque. It's like having a tiny cleaning crew in your bloodstream, working to keep your arteries clear. And the best part? It doesn't come with the significant side effects we see with aspirin. Of course, for those who need stronger interventions, medical science hasn't been standing still. New oral anticoagulants, or NOACs, have emerged as more effective alternatives to aspirin for certain conditions like atrial fibrillation. These medications offer more targeted treatment with potentially fewer side effects. It's like upgrading from a Swiss Army knife to a specialized toolkit, more precise and often more effective. But here's the thing. There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to heart health. What works for one person might not be the best option for another. That's why it's crucial to work with healthcare professionals to develop a personalized approach. Your heart health strategy should be as unique as you are, taking into account your specific risk factors, lifestyle, and medical history. Remember, whether you're considering natural remedies or prescription medications, it's always important to consult with your doctor. Some natural supplements can interact with medications or cause side effects, especially if you have existing health conditions. It's like mixing ingredients in a recipe. You need to know how they'll interact to get the best results. Let's wrap this up with some key takeaways. Aspirin isn't the heart health superhero for everyone. It's crucial to understand your personal risk factors, especially things like LPA that might be flying under the radar. Remember, lifestyle changes often pack a bigger punch than medications when it comes to heart health. Here's the bottom line. You need personalized advice. What works for your neighbor might not be right for you. That's why it's critical to work with healthcare professionals who can help you navigate the complexities of heart health, especially when it comes to primary versus secondary prevention. If you found today's content helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips and strategies to keep you feeling your best. Have a topic you'd like us to cover? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.